Friday Night Fun with North American Raceroom. You are watching with 6 minutes 33 seconds left in qualifying at the Falkenberg Motorbahn. Sorry, Falkenberg, not Falkenberg. It's a much different place. We're currently watching Mr. Jared Spatak lap his Honda Civic around the first few corners of this very fun and very tight racetrack. Just going to dial the volume back a little bit on this feed. Hopefully I'm coming in a little bit clearer now. Alright, with a whopping 2 minutes left in this qualifying setup, we've got ourselves 10 racers in. We've got Ramiro Perez, we've got Jared Svetak, TJ Sakokio, Luke Filippone, Theo Lupu, Don Bessel, Liam Gramke, Dan Dietering, Joe Tufts, and Tim Kennedy. With a whopping 2 minutes left in this qualifying setup, we've Tonight's race is being held in Falkenberg Motorbahn in Barrygård, Sweden. Today's track temperature is a 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air temperature is 21 degrees Celsius. We got no wind that I can see anywhere in all those units I just made up. Today's race cars are the World Touring Car Championship 2013 edition, running on the S2000 Fiat regulations. We'll get a little more into that later as you watch these cars lap around. Next race is being held in Falkenberg, Motorbanna, in body of wood, Sweden. Air temperature is 21 degrees Celsius. We got no wind that I can see. All those numbers I just made up. Today's race cars are the World Touring Car Championship 2013 edition, running on the S2000 Fiat regulations. We'll get a little more into that later as you watch these cars lap around. All right, so looking at results, we got Ramiro Perez setting a lap time of 44 seconds, .325. Right behind him is Jared Svetek in a tight .17-ish lap time difference. So having 4 cars within half a second of each other is pretty impressive. Moving down the leaderboard, I mean, to have a 2-second spread between start and finish is going to make this a very interesting class. And being a 20-minute race format, top 10 are going to reverse. Guess what? Perez setting a lap time of 44 seconds, .325. Right behind him is Jared Svetek in a tight .17-ish lap time difference. So having 4 cars within half a second. All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite part. If you're a member of the NARR, you will love what's about to happen here. We are going to watch the mayhem that is warm-up. On board with Ramiro Perez doing a tire warm-up test here and finding some barriers. He's managed to get his car stuck. You can hear the dump gate of the turbo on this 1.6 liter engine working overtime as he's trying to get loose from the barricades. Okay, we have folks driving the wrong direction on the track. Don Bissell going for head-on collision. Oh, swerving. Looks like he's taking a small amount of damage on the front end of his car. Some of the aero has been removed. He doesn't need it. He's going airborne. Fully into reverse into the tires with a spin. I think he's okay. Oh, he's back in the pit. See how Mr. Jared is doing. Oh, lovely. Look at this. The poor gentleman in the pits spent all weekend putting this car together for him, just for him to do that. Ungrateful. Excuse the nauseating camera work here. I'm just trying to see if I can move myself around to this very fun position of watching this mayhem. Here we go. Well, it's very apparent where the funnest part of the track is going to be for the race. Well, if I didn't think this is a rallycross race, I wouldn't know what I was watching. Almost got it over. Slight kiss in the corner. Ooh. Got ourselves 10 racers in. Alright, we are 20 seconds away from race start. I'm going to hopefully position myself in a spot where we can actually watch this race begin. And I think I will park it right at here. Because how often do you get to watch a race start from here? Okay, lights are up. We're going to watch them go out here with Luke Filippone in fourth. The lights are out and away we go. 20 minutes of racing at Falkenberg. Down the front straight into the chicane, we have Ramiro Perez and Jared Svetek fighting it out. Immediately behind them, we have TJ and Luke Filippone, Theo Lupu, Don Bassell, Dan Diedring, Eben Gramke, Tim Kennedy, and Joe Tufts. Already you can see the front three are starting to pull away a little bit from the rest of the group. Jared Svetek taking a quick bit of slowdown time there due to track cut. We'll see if Ramiro Perez capitalizes on the next corner here. He doesn't have the space. And Jared taking a very wide corner and spinning out backwards. Oh, that's unfortunate. He's got 19 minutes and 10 seconds to get that sorted out. Hopefully back on the track. As yet another car's going wide. I think that might have been Theo Lupu. Yes, that was Theo Lupu in the red Lada. Taking the ground for granted and putting it out in the grass. You may not look it, but this track is quite undulating into the first little bit, so it's kind of tough to keep the cars on tracking well on the tarmac. They like to get loose, especially when you hit the curbs or the grass. Picking up gravel doesn't help either. Evan Gramke sneaking up on the inside. And pulling away from Theo. Up closer to the front, Don Bassell is chasing down TJ. I'm going to butcher this one, Sakokio. Pushing his Chevy Cruze to the limit. He's got his foot into it as he goes into the corner here. No brakes. If you've never had a chance to take a lap around this track, it's quite a tight track. As you can see, it's 44 seconds to do a lap. The the width of the track isn't really well displayed here. It's tough to make a pass here because of how narrow some of the portions are, especially the chicane. If you get the chicane wrong, however, you end up in the gravel, and your competitors are going to be around you quite quickly. Up at the very front, TJ's making a move on Ramiro. Let's see what happens here. Honda Civic and the Chevy Cruze battling it out. Still tight racing. Less than 0.1 of a second between the two of these right now. The front chicane was put in originally because of the speeds that the drivers were achieving on the front straight. So they put the chicane a little bit early to slow them down. A lot of guys were running wide and going into the walls in the early days of the track. Chicane has added a new level of difficulty and also some humor for the warm-up laps, as you can see earlier on. TJ pushing wide on Ramiro, trying to get him to give up a little bit of space, and looks like he might get inside him here on the last corner. Going into the front straight. Oh no, had to tuck in behind. That was very close. Go on board here with TJ for a lap. Show you just how tight this track looks from the driver's point of view. TJ can't afford to take too many liberties here, as he does have Don Bissell breathing down the back of his neck. Ooh, front wheel lockup from Ramiro Perez. Tires will be a problem on this track after 20 minutes, especially with the front wheel drive car that has zero traction control or ABS. One of the S2000 regulations for FIA was the cars were not allowed to have any electronic aids for the drivers. So this means that you are stuck with no ABS, no traction control, and very limited cockpit indications of what's going on. Some car manufacturers got around this by adding lights to let you know when the wheels were locking up, but they technically weren't assisting the driver because it wasn't stopping the wheels from locking up. Back two from him in position 4 is Luke Filippone chasing down Don Bissell. The two Chevy Cruzes are matched up pretty well here. As you can see, they're nose to tail. Hopefully Luke Filippone's avatar doesn't come into play today and have him upside down during the race. It appears that Ramiro Perez has built up a bit of a gap from TJ. He's over a second now from him. Pushing the little Cruze to the absolute limits as he goes around that last corner. You'll see the nose of this car dive down quite a bit as he pulls into the first chicane. And clattering over the curbs. Front rotors glowing brightly under the heavy braking. And using the curb to pull himself in. Ooh, Don Bissell taking a small cut track warning. Not only is this track undulating, there's also lumps in it too that can unsettle a car quite quickly, and you may find yourself sitting backwards on the track instead of pointing it down the direction you want to be going. Luke Filippone and Don Bessel are still duking it out here, door to door, going into the chicane. Let's see how this works out. Don Bessel holds onto his position from Luke. He's not going to give it up that easily. Maybe next time around. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of liveries, they're both driving the number 23 car. Makes it tough to tell who's who. A little touch of gravel there for Dom. Luke Filippone will be relentless into this last section here. Let's see if he can get a good run on him. Oh, a little bit back and forth. Side by side again. Dom taking the defensive position, pushing Luke wide into that first corner and giving himself about a half-second lead on him. Clever driving, Dom. In front of Don Bessel is TJ, and TJ's losing a bit of time to him. Slowly chipping away, getting himself down under a second there for a moment. He can't afford to push too hard though, because if he starts going wide, he's going to be overtaken. And, okay, so TJ decided to disappear from the server and into the pits. We'll see what happens here. He may have taken damage. Car going up. We'll come back to TJ. It looks like he may have taken damage and is into the pits to get that sorted out. While this was going on, Theo Lupu has snuck into third place. As I was watching what was happening with Dom, behind him is Luke Filippone trying to make the catch up. Unfortunate for TJ, he's got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. One thing the stewards not like is when you go too fast, even when your car is almost all the way over the pit line. It's unfortunate turn of events there for TJ. Down in 6th place, Jarrett Svetek has made a little bit of progress since his early spin in the race. He's now up into 6th place, pushing on Evan Gramke. Evan sporting the Chevy Cruze while Svetek's driving around the Honda Civic. Both running in 1.6 liter turbo car. We can't hear it, but if you listen closely, get into the car with them, you can hear the turbo kicking off. Right there. That chattering signature of a turbo blow off or wastegate. Pushing up on him again. Not quite close enough to get a draft. That front straight isn't really long anyways. It's not like Portimao or the other Formula 1 circuits where you have these enormous front straights where you can get a ton of time using DRS and catching the wake of the driver in front of you. Back up in 4th. Luke Filippone is pushing hard against Theo Lupu, who has put almost in the grass. Picking up a little bit. Turf, possibly making this first corner a little bit harder for him. We'll see how it goes here. It looks like Theo's safe this time. Luke finding a bit of time in that first chicane to catch up. Now within 0.1 seconds of Theo, and for racing terms, 0.1 at this speed is pretty much bumper to bumper. Theo throwing that poor Lada around this track. On board with Luke here as he tries to find some time in the first chicane. A little bit of a short shift there to keep the front wheels from spinning. Oh no, Theo's taking a bit of gravel and that's pulled him over. He's sideways on the track. Evan Gramke's quickly closing that gap on him. Closing that gap on him and passing him by. Unfortunate. Looks like Jared Svetek may be able to make a little bit of time up on Theo as well here. Theo and Evan have a little bit of a dance going on into the first chicane. I mean, Gramke will be very interested in trying to catch up to Luke Filipponi, but 5.5 minutes, he's got to make up 6.5 seconds. And on a track that's only less than a minute long, you're going to have a lot of tough time to find that gap. Meanwhile, all the way up in first place is Mr. Perez. He appears to be driving quite a nice, quiet race up front. I have not seen his name come up for any incidents. He's had one invalid lap, and other than that, he is starting to lap the back markers. So nice quiet drive from Mr. Perez. So as you can see here, the field is spread out quite a bit. There's about a minute between first and 8. And Ramiro has overtaken TJ as well as Joe Tufts. TJ struggling a little bit at the beginning there and getting a drive-through penalty in the pits early on. And I think Joe Tufts found the offshoots in a couple corners, which has kind of made his night a little tough. But there is one more race left after this one. 4 minutes remaining in the Falkenberg double down. It appears the drivers are spaced out quite a bit in the middle of the pack. The closest two are Jared and Theo Lupu. Jared driving hard down the front straight again. Hop on board with him if we can. Up and over the curbs. Looks like Theo Lupu starting to close the gap a bit on Evan Gramke. Up in 4th place. He's down to about 1.5, 1.7 seconds. We'll see what happens after this front straight. I think Theo may catch him a little bit under braking. Yeah, taking a 0.2 second bite out of him after one corner. That's a pretty good chunk of time. Up with Theo Lupu now. Oh no, Evan Gramke. What has happened to Evan Gramke? Let's see if we can find him out there. Evan Gramke is pulled into the pits. Not sure if he needs to take fuel or if he has to serve a drive-through penalty. No, he's pulling in. We'll have to catch up with Evan after the race to see why he's put his car into the pits with 1 minute and 53 seconds left in this race. Very frustrated looking Evan pulling out of the pits. Hopefully he hasn't broke the 60 km/h race limit here. It looks like he got away safe there. Might have been a stop and go penalty for him. And to close out this race, we will follow Mr. Ramiro Perez as he finishes off 2 more laps at Falkenberg. Coming up on the BMW of Tim Kennedy, who's riding comfortably down in 6th place right now. And Ramiro's in no danger of being passed by anyone. He's got almost a 7-second lead up on Dom. Behind Dom's Luke Filippone with 5.8 seconds. Theo Lupu 10 seconds behind him, with Jared Svetek snapping at his heels. Hopefully no errors made by Theo to keep him safe in 4th position for the next race. Here we are, the final lap. Oh, a spin from Tim Kennedy. Kind of caught drivers behind Ramiro off guard. I think Jared Svetek was a little bit surprised by that, but got away safe on it. Up in the cockpit with Ramiro driving from his helmet cam. And here you are. Your race winner, Ramiro Perez, followed closely by Dom Bessel. Behind him, Luke Filippone, flashing his high beams with 3rd place. 4th going to Theo Lupu after a bit of a off-roading endeavor. Found him down in the bottom quarter of the pack. He managed to work himself back up into 4th place. Great driving by him. Coming into the final corner, a little wide from Jared Svetek as he pulls onto the front straight. See if we get any shenanigans from Jared as he crosses the finish line. Down the front straight and safely through the chicane. No shenanigans today from Jared. Tim Kennedy pulling into the pit lane early here. A couple of cars doing some victory laps, even though the lap traffic hasn't completed their race yet. Thus concludes race 1 of 2 at Falkenberg Motorbana in Barragård, Sweden. Today's race was brought to you by alcohol and a crushing sense of depression. I'm your host tonight, Scotty G. I'll be taking you through yet another warm-up. I am going to step away here for just a moment and be back once the race starts in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm your host tonight, Scotty G. I'll be taking you through yet another warm-up. I am going to...
Oh, that's true. Hey, Scott, what's going on?
Oh, fuck. I think that jump works better, but it's kind of hard to get a run up. Try again.
Got it. It's the only way I'm going to get a fast lap.
I'm totally good. I just got the same suspension damage I had before.
Yeah. Well, my setup had 1 liter to wiggle, so I had to go into the pits to get some more gas, and I just changed my tires on zero too. No, because I couldn't turn off. I didn't turn off the tires in time, and then I got a drive through for speeding somewhere in the pits. I don't know where, but.
Oh, there's the BMW just in reverse, I see.
Stay right there, I'll jump over you. Who is that?
Very tidy in reverse.
Or maybe not.
That was an absolutely impressive flip by Don Bessel. Jared Svetek trying the rally cross approach to that first chicane, not working out too well for him. Taking a slight bit of damage on the front of his car. This is the 14th car that the team brought down to the track this weekend. They did bring 20 total, so he's got 6 more to bring through this track. Hopefully he can nurse one to the finish without too much damage. I think this is his last race with Honda. It's his final hurrah. He's saying goodbye to the team in fantastic fashion. There's some talk about an incident in the paddock where Jared did push the owner of the Honda team onto the ground and made fun of his haircut before getting in the car and driving around the track like a maniac. Okay, reverse grids. We see Ramiro Perez sitting in the back as he came in first last race with Joe Tufts up front in the Seat Leon. Behind him, Dan Deerding, TAJ Sakokio. I'm going to butcher that name every time. Evan Gramke, Tim Kennedy, Jared Svetek, Theo Lupu, Luke Filippone, and Don Bessel. Away they go. Bit of a bunch up out wide on the right. Jared Svetek sideways. We have a bit of touching. A fair bit of car contact going into that first chicane. Some more love between a Civic and a Seat. Pull up to Jared here so we can watch him track down TJ in the other Civic. Receiving a slowdown penalty. That's not going to help his endeavors. Up at the front, Joe Tufts working diligently to keep everyone behind him. Calm, cool, and collected in the cockpit of this car as TJ starts to make a move down the inside. Does he have enough room? He does. Finding the apex and then finding the door of Joe. Took a little bit of a slowdown penalty there. I'm not sure if he's going to serve it right away, but he's going to pull ahead of Joe. Now Don Bessel skating by on the inside, and Jared Svetek right behind him, ready to make the pass. Back further down the leaderboard, Theo Lupu is chasing down Dan. The Grant is pushing up on the back end of the cruise, got a little bit wide there, lost some time unfortunately, and now he's going wide again. Managed to save it though, see if he can cut down some time again. The BMW 320 of Tim Kennedy, the only BMW in this race. The chassis is actually built for a 2-liter engine, the 320. However, they are running the 1.6 turbo because it makes a ton more power. The 2-liter engines were the standard for quite a few years, but in 2011 they said, you know what, we'll let you guys have a 1.6 turbo. Let's see what you can do with it. And they started producing close to 300 horsepower with them, and quickly everybody switched over to a 1.6 turbo. As you can see, a fair bit of smoke going into that first corner because the front tires will lock up in these cars if you abuse the brake a little too much. Ramiro Perez in his cruise, he's working to pass Dan Dietering in the Seat. It's a little bit of a slower go for him this race because he had to start from 10th, but he has made 3 places so far. Receiving a slowdown penalty for track cutting again. So he's going to have to gift Luke Filippone a position for a time being. He may make it up here though in the first corner. Depends on how aggressively he pushes in. Still leaving a bit of a gap going into that second corner and now into the third. If he can make a good clean exit on this, he should be able to get up to him for the fourth corner. Curbs. Ramiro is pushing hard again, trying to track down the fellow Chevy Cruze of Luke Filippone. Luke is currently chasing down Joe Tufts. And then Jared Svetek chasing down Theo Lupu, who is pulled into the gravel and put his lattice sideways off into the grass on the right-hand side. Oh no. Theo Lupu can't be too happy about that outcome. Safely rejoining though. Back on the track. He's down into 8th position now from 3rd. Joe Tusk now pushing up against Luke Filippone. 0.2 of a second. Not much time between the two of these. He's got to be cognizant of Ramiro behind him though, because Ramiro will push hard where he can, as proven here, as he just forces Joe to go a little bit wide on that corner, maybe a little bit of over braking. Ramiro gets the job done with no contact, and he's off. 2 cars behind him, Theo Lupu is now pushing against Dad Diedering in the Seat Leon. Three cars wide into a chicane is never a good idea. They sort themselves out quickly and give everyone space. Theo pushing hard to the outside, trying to upset that Seat. Not sure if it's going to happen. And through on the inside. Dan Diedering kind of left the door open a little bit. Theo said, "Thank you very much." Pushing through. 4 seconds in front of him. Ramiro Perez makes a quick move on Luke Filippone. He's dropped now down to 5th position. He'll be eager to get that position back. Unfortunately, the previous race leader has been setting some absolutely ludicrous laps. We will see if he can catch up to Ramiro and come back to those two. Up in the front, Don Bessel's got a 1.4 second lead on TJ, coming down the front straight, completing lap 10 of this 20-minute race. We've got 13 minutes left in the clock as we watch them cook into the first corner. Falkenberg's a bit different than most tracks. It's more of a club track. You can tell by the lack of massive grandstands. The obvious giveaway here. We have some what do you call them? Bleachers on the sides of the track, and we do have a couple people standing out in the field around the first chicane. It's probably the best spot to get a look at the cars as they go by, and definitely a lot of action as they lock up the brakes coming into the first corner. The undulating hills and sand traps of the second sector can be also an exciting place to see passing, as you don't want to get too far over at any point. Find some grass, next thing you know you're looking backwards at your competition. Don fairly confidently handling all the corners here, gliding over the rumble of the curbs, around the final corner, and back across the front straight. However, TJ has found a bit of time on that track, and it's now closed the gap from over a second down to 0.5. So he's made up a half a second in 2 laps, which is a fairly considerable amount of time. Watch them go through the first sector here into the second. These sweeping left and right hand turns are fairly flat out. You may have to have a little bit of a lift, but for the most part, it's pushing the pedal right to the floor and squeezing every bit of juice out of those poor engines. As you fly down what we can call the back straight, even though it's maybe about 300 meters long, into the final 2 corners. Looking further back on the track, Ramiro Perez is up in 4th now, so he's up 6 positions from 10th place. A smooth and calculated driver with these World Touring Car Champion cars. Unlike rear-wheel drive cars, these front-wheel ones do not enjoy it. When you put your foot down into a corner, you will start going wide. Unfortunately, the wheels can only do so much for you. When you start putting power into them, they stop wanting to point the car where you need to be going. That being said, you can set them up for a little bit of off throttle oversteer. You get some pretty exciting result with that. Touch of brakes there seems to smoke come off the wheels of Ramiro's car as he tracks down Jared Svedek up in 3rd place. He's closed the gap now down to 0.7 seconds. And Jared's putting up a good fight up in 3rd place, sneaking back 0.2 seconds, making Ramiro work a little harder to catch him up. Back up at the front, TJ is working against Dom here. Close that 0.7 gap. Coming across the final 2 corners into the front straight. Look through his front window here, we're seeing as he drops down into this first chicane. So unlike most cars that are in the Raceroom racing experience, they are not flappy paddle gearboxes. These are sequential shifters, so you do have to let a hand off the steering wheel in order to change gears. The downside to this, you only have one hand on the wheel now, so if you do catch a curb or a bump of another car, you can lose control of your car very quickly. A little bit over braking there from Dom Bessel. TJ's going to capitalize on this as he closes the gap now down to 0.18 seconds. Push to the outside and see if you can get down to make a mistake here. I don't think it's going to happen, TJ. You're going to have to try again on the next lap, I think. Dom working to make that Chevy Cruze as wide as possible against this charging Honda. Seems to have some pretty good effect as he starts to pull away again. The 2 of them clatter around the corners trying to avoid the sand. Perez, a shark in the water here behind Jared Svedek, who knows very well he's got a white and red Chevy in the rearview mirror here as he's going into the last 2 corners on the front straight. Dom Bessel and TJ almost come together on that corner. TJ working so hard to cause a mistake from Dom, and I think he's done it. He's gone door to door with him here. Oh, Dom getting a little bit of speed there and pulling back ahead of TJ. These 2 are duking it out. It's a bit of a slugfest. They may end up losing a bit of time because of this fighting, and you may see Jared close that gap from 8 seconds. But right now, this is some pretty exciting driving with the front 2 drivers. Very even match. See how close that gravel is to the track there. You do not want to be getting into that. It will pull you off the track and slow you down. You'll lose so much time. A second here is, you know, what, 5% of your track time is a second, so you gotta be fairly careful with how you utilize your time around this track. You don't want to end up going wide or going off. Just inches off the bumper of Dom as they start to catch up behind Tim Kennedy in the BMW E90 320. This should be cause for a little bit of interesting driving as Tim will hopefully drive his line. Won't have any too much hair raising as they enter the back 2 corners here. Dom getting a little bit squirrely as he goes wide. Letting off a little bit. I think he senses there may be a little bit of contact if they get 3 wide going into the chicane here. Dom Bessel, oh my. Tim Kennedy got rear-ended by TJ. He's off in the inside of the track. This may be the end of his race. We will see what happens here. He's being very patient before rejoining and safely gets his BMW back out on the track. That was an unfortunate turn of events for TJ. He lost about a half a second in doing so. Outstanding pass by Don Bessel to take that position over Tim. Unfortunately, TJ got caught up in the action and it knocked him back some. Back in third position, Jared Svetek is still running away from Ramiro Perez. However, Ramiro knows exactly where Jared's going and is keeping up with him. It's 0.6 seconds between the two of them, and this chicane will bring that gap down to 0.3 seconds. We'll hop in the car with Ramiro. We'll watch from his point of view. These World of Touring Car Champion teams spend so much money and so much time on these cars, making them tune perfectly for the races they're going to be entering. However, the guy in the parts section decided that the old chunk of dryer duct was more than adequate for providing cooling to the dryer. So you'll see in most of the cars there's just a bit of sheet aluminum wound up, jammed in the cockpit to keep the drivers from sweating too much. Jared doing a great job of keeping that Honda in the exact right place where Ramiro can't find a gap. Again, this track being as narrow as it is, it's tough to find a room. You kind of have to make room. Best passing spot. Oh, there's a bit of gravel there. This could be it. This could be the way. Oh no, Jared pushing back across, closes the door on Ramiro Perez. Ramiro definitely smells blood in the water now, though. He's going to go for the inside pass here. We're going to switch to direct review as they come into the first chicane. Ramiro's going to make it work. Jared's going to fight him the whole way around the corner, pushing him a bit wide. Ramiro's going to come back again and into third place. Is he going to be able to stick it around the corner? Jared on the outside, Ramiro in the grass. Oh my goodness, side-by-side racing for 5-6 corners straight. 7 corners, and Ramiro pulls ahead of Jared Svetek. That was some wild driving. Jared trying to return the favor on passing back here. I don't think Ramiro's going to have it. Wonderful driving from Ramiro Perez and Jared Svetek as they go in through that first and second sectors. Back again. Jared right around Ramiro. Not sure what happened with Ramiro there. Maybe he lost a bit of time in that last corner going in the grass. Maybe we'll watch this happen again. Honda Civic of Svetek working overtime to keep that Chevy Cruze behind him. But again, he makes room on the inside. Jared's trying hard to close the door again and keep that Chevy in his back window. Nope, Ramiro's going to find time on the inside. Door to door again as they come around. Second to last and final corner. Ramiro Perez back into third place as they come down the front straight. The power of the Honda is kind of closing the gap a little bit. Oh, Jared gets a little bit locked up and sideways. He's going to lose some time to that. We have who is that? Parking their car. Is that Luke Filippone? No, sorry, it's not. Joe Tufts parked his car in the chicane. Not sure what's happening with his car. What a crazy way to enter a chicane, especially when you're fighting with another driver. Jared and Ramiro are still duking it out here for third place. This is a hotly contested position on the podium today. Looks like we're going to have one lap left after this one, as Don Bessel has pulled 1.7 seconds ahead of TJ Secocchio. Perez doing a great job of holding on Jared now. Jared can hopefully find some time in the wake of Ramiro's car catch him up on the front straight for the final lap. He will be giving it his all, I'm sure. We are going to switch over to Don Pacell for his final lap and hop on board. Cautiously bringing it into the second to last corner. Safely though across the line. He's completed 2 complete races without having his steering wheel catch on fire. So we're very happy for Don Pacell. Great race, first place. Well done. Jared Svetek has launched his car into orbit. We will be watching that come back out of space with the Chinese rocket that is currently falling back to Earth slowly. Ramiro Perez taking up 3rd. You've been watching North America's Raceroom's side hustle of the Friday night fun at Falkenberg, Motorbahn, in Bergagård, Sweden. I'm Scotty G. As your commentator for the night. Hopefully it was somewhat enjoyable. The wrong button pushed there. Well, air warmed up a little bit, or track warmed up. 30 degrees Celsius, the air cooled off, 18 degrees. The sun stayed out for the entire race. Today's driver of the day I'm going to give to Ramiro Perez for holding first place for an entire race, charging from 10th all the way into 3rd, all the while keeping that car on the straight. Well done, Ramiro. Well done, everybody. There you have it. So, final results, Ramiro Perez with the fastest lap of 44 seconds, 0.445. Your overall race winner, Don Pacell. TJ Sakiokio taking up 2nd place. Jared Svetek just coming off the podium in the last couple of laps. Luke Filippone in 5th. Theo Lupu, Dan Diedering, Tim Kennedy, Joe Tufts, and Evan Gramke with the 2 Bamboo Engineering Chevy Cruises.